Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of our Football Focus SG podcast with myself, Faiz, also our experts, Harunazi Hanafi, and another expert of ours, Mr. JB. How are you guys doing today?
Good. I'm good. All good.
Yeah, Mr. JB, doing well?
Yes, well, but bored because of International Week, but still well.
Yeah, so um, we are coming to International Week now. So technically both SPLs and the other leagues around the world are taking a short break. But the one thing that's been the most busiest among all is the transfer window that is happening this year. So now I just want to ask a quick question before we start. If you guys can sum it up in one word or one sentence about this season transfer of everything that has happened, what would that be? Harunazi, go with you first. How would you sum up the whole transfer window?
In one word, extraordinary.
Yeah. I think we all can agree that it is very extraordinary. Mr. JV, yourself, like, how do you sum up the whole transfer window after it ends?
If I can just put it to one word, I'll call it homecoming.
Home.
It's
Yeah,
homecoming.
I mean, yes, true. There are a few homecomings. There are a few
There's a few
extraordinary
homecomings, yes.
signings. There are
Yep.
a lot of things going on. So for today's episode, we're just gonna focus on just transfer rating for today. And instead of the normal 5 players that we always rate per episode, today, this episode alone, we're gonna do 10 different players to rate their transfers. And of course, there are a lot more players that has been transferred, but we can't really mention in the list, not because of anything, but time constraint a little bit or what. But we're gonna highlight those major key moves, especially players that we don't expect, but it happened. So we're gonna kick things off, all right? So starting off with number 10, all right? Of course, I'm gonna try my best to make it save the best for the last, okay? So the first one that I'm gonna go, which is one of the transfer deadline day itself transfer, but it did come out a bit out of the blue, as you can say, is Saul Niguez on loan from Atletico Madrid to Chelsea. Now, okay, initially when I hear this, it's an amazing signing at first. I mean, on loan, yes, it's not permanent, but it's an option to buy. But however, when I start to think, they have Jorginho, Kovacic, and Kante already. So the next question in mind, do they really need him? Is this going to be another one of those Van de Beek in Man United? So I'm going to rate first for this. I actually feel it's a good addition to the squad, definitely. And a loan with an option to buy. Yes, last season, Saul is not the best, but he is still a quality player in Europe. I'll give this a 6 out of 10. I know it's a bit underwhelming, but 6 out of 10 only because Chelsea don't need to strengthen that area, I feel. But gonna move on to Harunazi. You're next for Saul, Atletico Madrid to Chelsea. What do you think?
The first number that comes to mind with regards to this transfer has to be 7 for me. Why? I do agree. Saul has not had the best of seasons for the past season and the season before as well. But I strongly believe that he's a quality player. Sometimes players can have their ups and downs moments. But I disagree with what you mentioned, Faiz. I strongly believe that to challenge for titles, and we know that Chelsea are going to compete in, I don't know, as many as four championships, the Premier League, the FA Cup, the Carling Cup, the Carabao Cup, the Champions League. So that makes it 5 if I miss anything or if I added anything.
I mean, if you include the Super Cup that they won earlier, so that's 5.
It's 6.
It's 6,
around there, 6. So I strongly believe that to have teams competing on all fronts or in all competitions, you need a big squad. Because squad rotation will come in handy. So, it'll be interesting to see how he fits into the Chelsea squad. Like you mentioned, they already have players in that position itself. But I strongly believe that with his addition, it only solidifies the midfield line that maybe Coach Tuchel is going after. And of course, it's an additional talent to the squad, and he'll only make them stronger. So brilliant move for Chelsea and brilliant move for Saul, because we know he has been wanting to move for the past 3-4 seasons, right? Manchester United come in mind and all those. Moving to Chelsea, a bit of a surprise to me, but you know, at the end of the day, if it bodes well for both players and club, why not?
7 out of 10 for you? 7, all right.
Yeah.
Mr. JB, over to you. Saul Niguez, who I believe Man United was chasing for so long, and you as a Man United fan can share a little bit. How good is this guy? Is it a great move for him to move Chelsea?
Well, I think as far as the transfer is concerned, it will be a good transfer for Chelsea if it's a permanent deal. You see, but unfortunately, because it's a loan, right? Looking at Chelsea, they are. I mean, I'm not sure about other Premier League clubs. If you're talking about the Big Six, etc. But so far, Chelsea has been the one that is quite consistent with their loans, in particular, if I recall the past few years.
Yeah.
So and I kind of agree with you on the point that they already have that very strong midfield hole, you know, Jorginho and the gang. So adding one more, will it harm them? No, because of the number of competitions around there. But at the same time, yes, I do feel that United miss this guy out. You know, we definitely could strengthen at the back with him. But back to Chelsea, the whole topic, I think it's really a 50-50 signing for me, because when you loan, you know, someone, and you technically you don't really need any backups or whatsoever for that position, because your current squad is pretty strong. So my rating will be a 5 out of 10. It's probably a hit or miss for Saul. But I really hope that he does well for the league, because yes, he's a quality player on his own. But whether he can fit into the Chelsea system is a different matter altogether, because by putting him in, someone from the Chelsea midfielder will have to sit back, and will lose out game time. So but I don't foresee him playing that too often, because it's just a loan deal. So we'll see how it plays out. But for me, it's a 5 out of 10.
5 out of 10. Okay. All right. Moving on to the next player. We're going to go a little bit more towards Serie A now. Serie A does make a few signings left and right. And some are quite surprising, some are maybe underwhelming. I'm not sure, but this is where I need you guys to help. So the first one I'm going to go with is one of the 2 Milan transfers that's happening, which is Edin Dzeko joining Inter Milan. Now, yes, I can understand because of Romelu Lukaku left, which we're going to talk about it in a while. Is this really a great signing? No offense. I don't think so. No offense. I mean, I rate Edin Dzeko. However, as a Serie A champion, for you to have from, you lost your manager, you lost your top strikers, you lost some of the players. It is never really going to be the same. So it just kind of brings question whether they are actually, kind of challenging for the Serie A again. So I don't know. For me, I think I'm going to go with 5 out of 10 for this. But Mr. JB, over to you. Edin Dzeko joining Inter Milan. What do you think about the transfer?
Well, it was definitely a surprise, because I think for Dzeko itself, it's an upgrade.
Yep.
For him, to be going from Roma to joining the Italian Serie A defending champion. So that's pretty good. Although, yes, I mean, he did quite well during his time in Roma. So I don't see it as a big problem for him, like not scoring or anything like that, based on his age and experience.
Yeah.
Although yes, I'll definitely look forward to see how he pairs up with Lautaro Martinez in the upfront. So for me, I think I would give it 6 out of 10 for the transfer of Edin Dzeko. Yeah, I mean, it's a straightforward move. Yeah, it's the same league. He's done it before. So probably 6 out of 10. Yeah.
Harun Nazi, over to you. Dzeko from Roma to Inter Milan. Did he make a wrong move knowing that Jose Mourinho is there?
A wrong move or not, it's 50-50. I think from a player standpoint, if he were to compare both sides, Inter Milan and Roma, I think hands down, even we as neutrals would believe that Inter Milan has a stronger side. Even with Romelu Lukaku leaving, they're still a stacked squad. They still have players from bottom to top. Is he going there to replace Romelu Lukaku? Like for like change? I don't think so. They present different options up front for their teammates. So for Dzeko, of course, it's a good move. For Inter Milan, I think it's a good move for them too. Not, we have to bear in mind that I think he's 37. Edin Dzeko he's around that age.
Yeah,
30
he
plus.
is about 35, 36, I believe.
Yeah. So if I believe if it was up to Inzaghi, he would have preferred to get players like Immobile from Lazio, Insigne from Napoli, or Dries Mertens even from all the top strikers. Bolotti from Torino, if I'm not wrong, that's where he's playing. Yeah, I might be wrong. I believe he would have preferred to get those kind of players, but bearing in mind the financial situation that the Suning Group, the owners of Inter Milan, are going through, and also with the current pandemic that is ongoing, I think they would have settled for Edin Dzeko, which is maybe the 5th best striker in the league right now, or 5th or 6th best striker in the league right now. So fair play to Milan, but if you ask me to rate, I think I would give the move about 5 out of 10 or so.
5 out of 10 or so? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to another player, number 8, I would call it, as we're scaling up. He's a man who is, gonna replace Edin Dzeko now up front in Roma. Jose Mourinho signing Tammy Abraham from Chelsea to Roma. Now this transfer just came out a bit out of the blue, literally, Chelsea blue. Do I think that he's gonna excel under Jose Mourinho? I think he might. I think judging from the first game that he had like a couple of assists on the first game. So, I think he does gonna excel there. So I think this transfer is definitely gonna help his career in a way to kind of remind Chelsea that, that they're actually missing out their academy gem. There could be something over there, So I think this transfer to me, Tammy Abraham from Chelsea or Roma, I'll give a solid 7 out of 10 for me. Harun Nazi, over to you. Tammy Abraham to Roma. You're a Roma supporter now. Are you happy with that?
And I won't call myself a Roma supporter, but I love to watch their matches as well. It's difficult to watch Serie A in Singapore.
Yeah.
It's I don't think there's any.
It's not easy.
I think there are matches. There are matches that's being shown on Singtel Mayu TV, but not a lot of it. Tammy Abraham to Roma. Of course, if we compare him like for like with Lukaku, I think Lukaku is much more of a presence up top compared to Tammy Abraham.
Yeah.
Tammy Abraham is young. I feel it's a good move for him moving abroad. It might pose a little bit of a challenge, with how things are in Italian football, the supporters and whatnot. It might be, it's a little bit more crazy up there, fans more fanatical up there. But, as a player moving to a squad, and we've already seen that he's featured in all the matches since he's transferred there. He will get that feeling, and I know Jose Mourinho sets him as the number 1 striker for the club. So as a player, when you know that you're the number 1 striker for the club, it makes you feel good. And I feel with all that's been happening with Tammy Abraham and him moving from Chelsea moving him on to Roma, hopefully it bodes well for his confidence to make him feel that he's wanted, and to know at the back of your mind that a coach such as Jose Mourinho is banking on you up front. It bodes well. I think it will bode well for his career. Do I foresee him staying there long? I don't think so. Maybe 2 or 3, maybe 3 seasons at least before he move on to a bigger club, I feel. Because he's only going to get better playing in an overseas league, and he's only going to get better with Mourinho as a coach. I saw one of the goals that they scored, the team move that they scored, and he was the focal point for Roma, and it's going to take some time for him to adjust. Yes, he's made assist, he scored a goal, but he's only going to get better. It's only early days in the season. Rating, Roma doesn't have a lot of money to bank. I think 40 million. They bought him for 40 million.
Yeah.
Around that 40 million to get a player. I won't say as good as Tammy Abraham, but a player like Tammy Abraham, I'll rate the move 7 out of 10. I think it's a win-win situation for both player and club. Yeah.
7 out of 10. Mr. JB, how about yourself? Tammy Abraham? Do you think it's a good move for his age?
Yes,
He should be.
it's a superb move for him. All right. I mean, let's face it. I don't think he's getting enough chances in back in Chelsea. They've been sending him out for loans here and there. I believe that this move will definitely make him grow. Will definitely make him improve. That's for sure. And we all know. I mean, he is. I wouldn't say an out and out striker. Is very creative. And speaking of Lukaku and him, the comparison, I won't be surprised if he might be another Lukaku, not in the sense of the playing style, but what I meant is Lukaku left Chelsea and now he went back in, right?
Yeah.
So I can foresee that with Tammy Abraham. He's just a diamond in the rough. You just gotta polish him up, and who knows? He might probably go back to Chelsea, and become that striker banging in 30, 40 goals. So yes, I do see it as a huge step up for him. He's great. So far early days, he seems to be adapting fine in Roma and Mourinho. So I would rate it pretty high, like at least an 8 out of 10, because I think and at the same time with enough game time in Roma, who knows, Gareth Southgate might be calling him up again. So sky's the limit. So 8 out of 10 for me.
All right. Moving on to the next player in this list. We have, let me just see my list again. Okay. We have this player who is going to La Liga now, which is one of the players that Harun Nazri mentioned in a previous episode before about a young talent in Brazil from the Olympics. Matheus Cunha. Is that how they pronounce? Sorry if I butchered it. But he made his transfer officially from the Bundes to La Liga, joining the Atletico Madrid. Now, personally, I can tell you guys the truth. I may not know much about him until Harun Nazri mentioned, but I did watch a bit of Olympics. He is a unique player on its own. He has that kind of presence that I feel that, certain club can fit well in him. And I think in Atletico now, him joining there, it's a definite step up for him. It's a definite step up. I give this an 8 out of 10, easily. Mr. JB, over to you. Matheus Cunha, the Brazilian forward, joining Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, I must say it's a pretty good transfer as well. I mean, yes, I do follow the Olympics quite closely. He is one of those players that really stand out in that Olympic tournament. And yeah, quite frankly, I must say I'm really surprised that none of the English clubs actually tried to bang on him, because Olympic is quite a world stage. And I don't know, it's probably because nobody likes Brazilian, or perhaps the Premier League is having too much problem with Brazilian, but that's for a different topic. So I think Atletico Madrid, I mean, under Simeone, I mean, he so far he's been proving himself, and he knows to bring out the best out of players. And I heard that they only bought him for like what, 30 million for someone at the age of 22.
Yeah.
Come on, it's a steal. It's a steal. I would give it an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. Harun Nazri, you have informed us about him. What can we expect from him in Atletico Madrid?
Okay, based on what I saw from Cunha during his time in Hertha Berlin, and at the same time his showings in the Olympic, like you mentioned, he's a unique player. He's a versatile player. He can play as an out-and-out striker. He can drop deep, ask for the ball, and be creative on the ball. It reminds me of Tammy Abraham, the player that we just mentioned before this. Are they like for like? Playing style-wise, more or less there. But of course, no two players are the same. And like what Mr. JB mentioned, I was very surprised that no bigger clubs, I'm not saying that Atletico is not a big club, but I was surprised that no Premier League club actually went for him. You know, there's the likes of Spurs. There's this player, Cucurella, something like that, if I'm not wrong. I might be pronouncing his name wrong, who moved to Brighton. That player had a fantastic tournament at the Olympics as well. And if that kind of player with such quality moved to a club like Brighton, imagine Cunha, who is to me much better than Cucurella, and he's moving to a club, to Atletico. You know,
I mean, he could easily join any one of the top 6.
Yeah, true. He could easily. I was looking, I was thinking maybe Man City. I think he would fit Man City very well.
Yeah,
I
with
think he would fit
Jesus
Spurs
there,
very well. Yeah, he would fit Spurs very well with Lucas Moura over there. But yeah, he's a unique kind of player. I'm really looking forward. But then, having said that, he has already moved. And then on the last day of the transfer
we're
window,
going to talk about that dude as well.
we have Griezmann moving over to Atletico. So now I'm wondering why. I'm wondering. I'll just dive a little bit. Now Atletico have rich of abundance up front. They have Carrasco, they have Yao Felix, they have Correa, they have Luis Suarez.
Yep.
And then we have now Cunha. That's a lot of talents up front. And there's only three? There's only 3 or 2 that might start up front. You know, of course, Correa can come in from the right, Carrasco can come in from the left. But I think, he's going to get better. Simeone, 11 years at the club, 11 seasons at the club, consistency, performing every year, challenging for the titles, every year showing up at the Champions League. It only bodes well for the players, so I'm not only am I excited for Cunha, I'm also excited with Atletico. I think they're going to surprise everyone this season, I feel. Yeah.
So what was your rating?
Rating, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I'm really
10.
excited for the player. Hopefully nothing bad's happened to him. Hopefully by me singing his praises, it doesn't jinx it.
Hopefully you didn't jinx anything.
Yeah, I am hopeful that he'll have a good season together with Atletico Madrid.
To be honest, I'm quite excited also to see. I mean, after seeing the Olympics and some of the highlights of what he did, I think it's a future prospect. So moving on to number 6. We have, hold on, let me just check. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, okay. So number 6, we have, I believe this transfer has happened for quite a while, but we have not yet discussed yet, as we have other things to discuss. Sergio Ramos from Real Madrid to Paris Saint-Germain. Of course, we can kind of see it now happening, as it's already happening, but when the first time we saw the news that Sergio Ramos is leaving Real Madrid, I think we kind of didn't expect that. But at the same time, I was like, why would he join PSG? Okay, like maybe you can say he kind of has done it all in Real Madrid. I mean, to be fair, he has won La Liga, he has won Champions League after Champions Leagues. He has won the FIFA Club World Cup. He has pretty much done it all. He even won the World Cup with the national team. So I feel like this is just more of I wouldn't say a career upgrade or progression. This is just more of trying to stay in a high level of Europe competition, like just trying to be involved in the Champions League more, which obviously PSG, what a window they have. They are going all out, banking in for this Champions League this season, that's for sure. So I think with the leadership of what he has and the experience, I'll give this a 8 out of 10. Plus, it's free. I mean, it's free and you get that kind of experienced defender. It's a easily 8 out of 10 for me. Reason why I don't give higher than that is only because of his age, whether he can adapt to it. This is first time moving out of La Liga. So I'm not too sure. Harun Nazri, over to you. Sergio Ramos joining a PSG. Is that a right move?
I think it's a good move for the player. You mentioned about adapting. I think he's going to adapt easily to the French Ligue 1. No offense to the league, but I think the league is relatively a little bit more easier as compared to La Liga. Of course, with Sergio Ramos, there's always been rumors about him moving. I still remember the move that nearly happened with regards to Manchester United,
Yeah.
but it didn't materialize when Madrid came out with more money and offered him more money.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, I was very surprised that Real Madrid decided to let him go. Why? I feel that he could have been a legend, and he is a legend. He is a legend at Real Madrid, and of course, if it's down to me, I would have wanted him to stay all the way until he retire over there. But I guess that's not the way how Florentino Perez does stuff at Real Madrid. No, maybe with exception to Karim Benzema. But of course, I feel it's a good move for the player. Of course, it's a great move for the club PSG. He can lend them his experience, his leadership qualities. And if PSG's goal is to win the Champions League, getting the likes of Sergio Ramos in the team will only help to propel that. Will only help to propel their stature in the competition. Just to add on before I pass it on to Mr. JB, if you guys do have the time, go and watch Sergio Ramos's documentary on Amazon Prime. He has a documentary for himself. And I think it's 2 seasons. It covers his lifestyle, his family, his fitness regime, how he stays on top of his game. If you're free, you guys can go and watch that. And we always see Sergio Ramos as the man who's arrogant on the pitch, the man who broke Mo Salah's arm or dislocated the shoulder or whatever nonsense. But this is what I mean. As fans, we often get agitated with regards to all these things. But when you watch the documentary, you'll realize at the end of the day, football players, they're normal people, they're normal human beings. Just given the extra gift to work hard and whatnot. So if you have the time, do check it out because I was intrigued by what I saw. This guy's level of professionalism, top class. And when I say top class, we all know Cristiano Ronaldo's work ethic. I put it on the same bar as Cristiano Ronaldo's work ethic.
So, I did manage to see a bit. Like Sergio Ramos, I believe he did put a bit on Instagram of his training regime. For his age, that is such a beast kind of training regime. It's almost like what you say, same bar with Cristiano Ronaldo. But Mr. JB, over to you. Sergio Ramos, is it a good transfer or is it doesn't help?
The transfer itself, no question, it's free, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
free. You know what I'm saying? It's free. You're getting someone, yes, age, you can argue age and all that, but come on. He's been doing it. How many years he's been in Madrid? Like at least 15 years at least, probably.
Around 12, 13 seasons, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. Easily 12, 13, 14, 15 years. And if he can maintain, like that, and the fact that he's scoring in the later part of his career, it's great, for any club to have it. It just so happens that it's PSG knocking on his door and, money aside and everything else. But for a player of his quality and pairing up with Marquinhos, I think it's a win-win situation for both PSG and himself.
It's a solid pair.
Like what Harun Nazri mentioned, spot on. No offense to the league, but if you played in a tougher league in La Liga, you can definitely, I wouldn't say a stroll in the park, but you can definitely adapt quite easily in the French League One. So, easy. This is an easily 8 out of 10 rating for me because Ramos, I think, even me being a Man United fan, if Ramos were to go to United, I'll still be excited too because yes, I agree with both of you. His work ethic is almost Ronaldo-esque. So, yeah, I will give 8 out of 10 for sure.
8 out of 10. All right. This will be the end of the part 1 of our transfer rating. We have covered 5 players. In a part 2, we're going to cover another 5 players. So hope you guys do stick around, all right? See you guys soon.